There is someone who is about to get arrested in the case involving the death of Celeste Rivas, and it is not David. We know a lot. Let me download you on what we found out. So this week, there has been a witness before the grand jury, and he is intimately involved in David's life, the singer David, who the LAPD and the LA County DA says is a suspect in what they believe is the murder of Celeste Rivas. His name is Robert Morgenroth. Robert Morgenroth is the head of Mogul Vision, which is the label for David. But more than just the executive, the general manager, he is a manager. He manages David, and he is involved in David's day-to-day life and clearly knows a lot. So on Monday, Morgenroth was in the hallway with his lawyer, and there were people around, and they weren't sitting or standing right next to them, but the hallway echoes, and it was clear to people around there that there was a conversation that Morgenroth was having with his lawyer, and he was recounting what happened inside the grand jury room with the prosecutor in the case. The prosecutor, Beth Silverman, according to Morgenroth, here's what he said. She was very pushy on why I didn't call police. And then he went on to say that he said, in response to that he said, quote, I feel like I didn't have the responsibility to do that and just wanted to continue with the tour. Now, we do not know the context of this, but when the DA is grilling him about not calling the police, that has to involve a crime. You're not going to call the police because somebody didn't show up for work. You're going to call the police if there's some kind of crime involved, especially since this is a case involving what the DA says is a crime. So we don't know what Morgenroth knew that would require him, according to the DA, to pick up a telephone and call the police. But there's something. And again, he was involved in David's day-to-day life. So, okay, there is more. There is another manager in this same company, and his name is Josh Marshall. That name may be familiar to you because Josh Marshall was the guy who leased the house in the Hollywood Hills that David was staying at. It is the same house that the LAPD raided pursuant to a search warrant just shortly after Celeste's body was found inside David's Tesla. We are told by law enforcement sources that that house and that search was really critical in their investigation. So Josh Marshall, who leased the house, who signed the lease, is part of the company Mogul Vision that Morgenroth is also involved with. Morgenroth and Josh Marshall are both managers of David. So they seem to know a lot about David. I don't know, we don't know, if Josh Marshall was called as a witness. I would frankly be very surprised if he wasn't. But Morgenroth testified for at least 3 days. We don't know if he was testifying last week as well. One other interesting thing happened on Tuesday. Morgenroth went into a courtroom that is next to where the grand jury was hearing the testimony. And along with Morgenroth, the DA, Beth Silverman, also walked in. Now that's important because when there's something that happens in the grand jury where there's a dispute, for example, if a witness won't answer a question and the DA is pressing for an answer, if there's a stalemate, the DA can go to the judge and force the witness to testify, or at least get the judge to do that. We don't know if that's why they walked in, but both Morgenroth and Beth Silverman walked into that courtroom, and when they did, we have a reporter who was down there who was in the courtroom, and the judge kicked our reporter out and closed the hearing. So something was going on about what was happening in the grand jury room, and it may well be there was some dispute over what Morgenroth would or would not say. But again, we don't know what that is. Now let's go to Wednesday, because this gets even more interesting. So I told you that Beth Silverman is the DA. Morgenroth's lawyer is a woman by the name of Evan Janess. So this is after the conversation on Monday. On Wednesday, Beth Silverman, the prosecutor, walks out into the hallway and starts talking to attorney Evan Janess. And what we are told by people who are around there is that, that Beth Silverman was very frustrated and said that she would have a judge issue a body attachment to a female witness that was supposed to appear before the grand jury, a witness whom Janess represents. Remember, Janess also represents Morgenroth. So apparently this witness didn't show up, and Beth Silverman seemed frustrated, according to the people there, and said to Janess, I'm going to have a body attachment placed on this woman, and we're going to have her taken to court. That's an arrest, taken to court to appear before the grand jury. So we don't know if that woman also has a connection to Morgenroth, who is again represented by Evan Janess. So there are a lot of connections here. Connections between Josh Marshall and Morgenroth, both of whom were really intimately involved in David's day-to-day life. And then you have this female witness who may be involved with Morgenroth as well, because the same lawyer represents both of them. And you've got a situation where it sounds like not everybody is being fully cooperative with the prosecutor, who seems to be getting increasingly frustrated as the grand jury plows along.